Hi everyone, and you are welcome to this lecture, OS module. In this lecture, I'm going to define what OS module is, I'm going to show you some useful OS functions, and finally, I will end up this lecture by a quick summary. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to define what OS module is. OS is a module providing a way of using operating system dependent functionalities programmatically. There are a lot of OS functionalities, like for example, creating a directory, deleting a directory, and so on. In this lecture, we are going to see how we are able to use this functionality programmatically using OS module functions. So directly, let me move to PyCharm IDE to show you some examples. Because I want to use some functions from OS module, first of all, I have to import this module. So I will say import OS. First of all, if you want to know the current working directory, you have to use the function os.getCwd. I mean by current working directory is the default directory that is going to be used whenever you apply an operation requires a directory. For example, if you want to create a new folder or create a new file, where this folder or file are going to be created. Simply, they are going to be created in the current working directory unless you specify another directory. So, if I want to know what is my current working directory, I will use the function os.getCurrentWorkingDirectory. Let me run. And as you see here, this is now my current working directory, which is C, users, Samir, desktop, Python course. And because I'm using Windows platform, you see here I have / in the path. If you noticed, I mentioned that this is the current working directory, and this is my default directory. So is there any way I can change this directory? Yes. In order to do that, you have to use change directory function. And because I want to specify a new default directory to be used for any operation require a directory, then you have to pass the path here. And as you see here, the path should be a string. And don't forget, the path should be a string containing / or / according to your platform. In this example, I'm assuming that I want to change my current working directory into this path. So it's in C, users, user Samir, desktop, then /test. So the folder test now is my current working directory. If I want to double check that everything went okay, so I will use os.getCurrentWorkingDirectory again. Let me run. As you see here, the current working directory became now user Samir desktop test, the one that I have chosen here. You will note also that I put here R. What is the meaning of this R? If I remove this, directly you will see that I have here this curly line. Why I got this? Because here I have /t, and we know that /t is one of special characters that have special meaning in context of string. But now I don't want to use /t as a special character. I want to use it as a row character. So in order to do that, you have to say R, which means row. And when you say R, directly the interpreter will ignore any special character within your string. So be careful to set this R whenever you want to define a path. Now, keeping in mind that my current working directory is the following directory, let's see how we can create a folder inside this directory. Simply, I will use a function, its name makedir, and you have to specify the path if you want to create that directory in, or by default, it will take the current working directory. So now, if I say folder path equal to folder1, which means I only give a name, so I don't specify the full path, in this case, the directory is going to be created in my default directory, or in other words, current working directory. Let me run. Now I will go to the directory test to check. You will see that there is no directory has been created. The reason behind that whenever you run the file again, you have to specify your current working directory, otherwise it will take the default one. So now let me put these two lines of code again, which will change the current working directory, and I will run. If I go to the folder test, as you see here, which is my PC desktop test, I will find this folder 1. Now let's upgrade our example. Assume I want to create a folder within a folder within a folder and so on. So something like this. I want to create folder 4, which is inside folder 3, which is inside folder 2, and so on. If I run this code, directly I will get an error, which is file not found. Why this happened? Because as I know, inside my directory, as you see here, there is no folder 2, folder 3, and so on. So there is no folder 3 to create folder 4. In this case, this function will not work. The replacement of this one is another function, its name makeDirs. Makedir is a function that is going to create all the folders in the series if they are not available. So for example, if I run now, and go to check, I will see now inside folder 1, I have folder 2, and then folder 3, and then folder 4. Now let's see the opposite operation. I will assume that I have a folder and I want to delete this folder. In order to do that, I'm going to use another function. Let me remove this part first. It's named os.rmdir. And as you see here, you have to specify the path of the directory that you want to remove. I will assume that I want to remove folder 1, which I have already created. So I will uncomment this part and run. Directly, I will get an error. Why this happened? Because rmdir will remove a directory only if it's empty. But in my case, folder 1 is not empty because there is folder 2, folder 3, and so on. The solution for such a problem is quite easy. You have to specify, for example, the path of the folder that you want to remove. For example, now I want to remove folder 4, which is inside folder 3, which is inside folder 2, which is inside folder 1. And then you have to use remove dires function. If I run now, you will note that it works without any problem, but you have to be careful that this function will not remove only folder 4. This function removes all the directories inside the series. So folder 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 have been removed. So to summarize, rmdir will remove one directory, whereas remove dires will remove all the directories in the series of the path that you provide. Now let's talk about another function, which is rename. We have a function inside OS, its name rename, and it takes two parameters, the source directory and the destination directory, which mean the folder that I want to change its name and the new name. I will go to my folder test now, and don't forget it's empty. So I will create a new folder, its name folder 1, and I want to change the name into folder 222. Now because I removed the function change current working directory, my current working directory is not this. So let me show you what you have to do in this case. If you want to change the name of folder 1, it's not enough to say folder 1 because now test is not my current working directory. So you have to specify the full path as you see here, and you have to put here R, don't forget this. Also, you have to put the full path for the name of the new folder. And I want the name to be, for example, 222. Let me run. Now let me check. You will note now that the folder name become folder 222. The last instruction that I want to talk about is os.listDires. ListDire is a function that takes a path or a string and returns a list of names, and the names in this case are the names of the folders and the files within the path that you have specified. So let me in my case take this path here and put it here, and I will run to check what I will get. You see that I get a list of string and I have only one name, which is folder 222, which is the only available folder inside this path. Now, if you haven't passed here anything, by default, list directory will take the current working directory and it will show you all the available files and folders within that directory. And that's all for this code session. Now let's recap what we have learned in this lecture. First of all, OS module has been defined as a module providing a way of using operating system dependent functionalities programmatically. We see that OS module is full of functions that help me to work with files and directories like rename, mkdir, mkdires, rmdir, remove dires, and so on. Please refer to the file OS module appendix, in which you will find all the functions that have been covered in this lecture have been summarized. Also, please refer to the file OS module challenges, in which you will find some challenges to practice what you have learned in this lecture. Thank you very much for your time, and if you are available, join me in the next lecture.